A frozen lake in Colorado. On the ice, 21-year-old Robin Cousins, Britain's as yet uncrowned king of skating.
Here, there's just nothing. You just feel like you just keep going forever. I mean, you jump and you just feel like you're going up into the sky. On a day like this, it's just gorgeous. On the ice, I've never felt insecure. I've never gone out onto the ice and thought I shouldn't really be here. I just enjoy every second of it. I try and make my sport an art in the way that I do it. I get upset if I'm not performing as well as I think I'm capable of doing. My mood and attitude can change just within one training session. I can start out very well, and all of a sudden something will happen, it gets worse. So I think the best thing that I can do is get off the ice and take my boots off and then try again later. And it's very nice to be in a situation like I am in Denver, where I have a lot of ice time, where I can afford to do that. I'm doing what I think is right for me at the time now, and that's be here training hard, and hopefully it'll get me what I want. Olympic medals, any medals.
The English skating rinks are hopelessly overcrowded. In Colorado, Cousins has the use of a space created specifically for the training of champions.
I think he's a great skater. I have no doubt he's the best in the world in this moment. He's jumping much higher than anybody. His triples are much bigger and much higher than anybody. And he has a unique style.
Carlo Fassi, Olympic specialist, the trainer who is helping Cousins stretch himself into a class of his own.
All disciplines are so far superior to all the other competitors that he's competing against. He's much faster skating-wise, the footwork are, and he has definitely much more musicality than the East German or the Russian skater.
I've been able to develop my own style with skating more. He's also managed to give me a better understanding of why we skate. Not so much how we do it, but why we do it, and how each individual piece of skating links together to give a better performance, a better outlook. Another thing with working with his wife as well, especially on the free skating side, gives two totally different looks over the same aspect.
So, I'm not enthused about it. Do this one first. And then switch it over. That would be probably better.
She come and train also Robin, and we work it together with all my pupils. He has also an advantage, the fact that sometimes you get tired of one pupil, you get a little on the nerve of each other. So she get in and she take care for a few days until we are in a better situation.
Out.
The regular.
Yes.
This one. Then bring them in on the hips.
Right, that's where you should turn the most.
Okay. And
on
then
that one.
Back out and this
yes.
one before I pull out of it.
Still, you have to watch when you land that you don't. Now, the other thing I want to see is after you double cell, those two steps.
Oh,
one,
so I don't
two.
kick the ice.
They're really sloppy, okay? Can't you try and keep that shoulder up more? Look at here. There. The left shoulder, it looks like it slides away from you there.
I think she's more harder than I am. She's a little more German on that way.
It's just lazy.
Sometimes a little calm. I think it's a better approach when you are only by yourself.
Okay, now that was good, you see. I really think it's your left shoulder. You don't want to keep it up. It wants to go like this. Keep it there. And come around with the free leg and the free leg hip, okay? There, there. And then come around with the free leg. That's enough. No more. Okay? I'm tired of this jump.
Myself, I try to be sometime on the background. I feel that He's the skater, he's the champion. He's really the one that does it.
Carlo is putting the finishing touches to what you could consider a masterpiece. You know, you've written a concerto. You just have to tidy everything up so that it's perfect every time it's played.
The world's best free skater, from Bristol, Robin Cousins.
The Centenary Ice Gala at Wembley, March 1979.
I love doing shows because I like audiences and I like to make an audience happy with my skating. Where they can clap in time with the music and they can do the oohs and the ahs, and that's sort of an uplift for your skating.
March 1969, the Silver Blades ice rink in Cousins' home city of Bristol.
And I got into it seriously and I first met Pam. I told my mum I wanted skating lessons for Christmas. I immediately said, well, I wanted to have lessons with her because she smiled at me earlier. So I was going to have 6 lessons with Pam Davis, and those 6 lessons lasted 7.5 years.
Pam Davis handed over to British national coach Gladys Hogg in 1975. Cousins went to train at Queen's Ice Skating Club in London. Two years of bedsit life in Bayswater. Skating sessions at 6 in the morning, the only time the ice was clear. And only 2 years after that, Cousins the celebrity, a visitor in his own country. The Wembley Gala is in honor of 100 officially recorded years of ice skating. In a century, the skating world has invented rules for competition, established a strictly controlled repertoire of athletic skills. Then it asks for something more, something you can't define in the rule book: artistic impression.
A perfect skater would be someone who can combine everything, who can do the athletic side with the jumps and have the triples and have the clean jumps, have nice revolutions on the spins, and make it look easy, the way a ballet dancer makes the ballet look easy.
Warming up, someone who has already made it look easy to satisfy the judges and is now more interested in the difficult task of satisfying himself.
Olympic, world and European champion of 1976, John Curry.
The reason I persevered and tried to win the world and Olympic titles was because I realized it was the only way in which I personally would get the recognition that I was in fact someone who had studied my trade and pass all the tests and come out on top. Well, you see, I never even thought about it as a sport. I always thought of it as a kind of dance and a kind of, I don't know, a story. I have never really cared for ice shows. The presentation of them seems to me without substance. And of course this is a great problem, to create choreography on skates, which does have some actual value and some real interest, and which is innovative. It's terribly difficult. But it was always my aim to do that. Sometimes I don't even know what skating is myself, because I've been analysing and other people have been analysing it so much, and they're getting so intellectual about it and the whole thing. And I sometimes stop and think, well, you know, what exactly is skating? And all I can say is that it's a very beautiful form of movement, which I think has a great potential. You see, on the ice we can move in a way that no one else can. It has built-in properties that don't exist anywhere else. To get anything from them, we have to dig down into them and occasionally smash them apart and re-examine them and look again and see, you know, just in fact, is there something that we can do out here? Can I make a pattern through the air or through the space that cannot be achieved anywhere else? And the answer is, in certain cases, yes, we can. You see, it's not ballet, and it's not anything else. It's a form entirely in its own right.
John made skating look like an art for the first time. And I hope that in the next couple of years I'll be able to do something similar that people will look back on and say this is another example of fine figure skating. To me, skating is being able to get onto the ice and express my feelings to an audience through music and through the movements that make up skating, the jumps, the spins, and the steps. I don't think you can differentiate between skating being a sport or an art, because the idea is to make the sport look like an art.
But whether it's sport or art, you can't get your license to practice it without winning medals. And perhaps you win medals as much when you're alone as when there's a crowd to lift you up, or judges to mark you down. Here in Red Rocks Park, Colorado, Cousins prepares himself for his next big contest. It's the beginning of March this year. The World Championships are in Vienna in 1 week's time. In Zagreb last February, he won bronze, and many said it should have been gold.
I don't think you can ever bank on retaining titles. It's hard enough to get them, let alone retain them. There are pressures. I mean, I'm #1 in this country and I'm #1 free skater. Now I've got to do is to bring that up to a total #1 overall medal position. But there is going to be pressure on me next year, and I think I have to learn to cope with it. People were expecting me to do wonderful things in Zagreb, and I think I did as well as I was capable of doing at the time. Next year, I know that the people are looking at me to do even better.
Easy to pick up, eh? There, easy to pick up, good. Okay, don't drop a little, try to keep your hands level, that's not bad. If you can pick up that foot a little early, eh? It's a little too late here. That was very good, the control there.
It's the exact art of figure skating that's always been Cousin's weakest point. Those finely balanced movements that rely on an absolute control of both the inside and outside edges of the blade. The tracings on the ice are the indelible record of how well the skater has performed.
Stand in, that's good, there. Better do the forward and coming down, because you see better that way.
I think my basic failure in skating is my lack of understanding of composite figures at an early age. Obviously, when you're 9, 10, 11-year-olds, they don't want to have to get up in the morning and go around these circles and circles and go around them again and again and again until they've just got circles going around their brain the whole day.
It was his figure skating that lost him the gold in Zagreb.
Touch it where you started now, that's good. I am convinced that he can go all the way and win all the title and next year Olympics. Center is good. But really it's a question that he has to be more convinced of himself in figure. He's very sure of himself in free skating. I would love that he can do the same in figures.
Just one big one, hold down, that's it. Hold down, good.
Dance class in Denver. Teacher, Darlene Galuzzo.
I do the classical ballet warm-up, but then I use contemporary music for the stuff out on the floor. And I think athletes like Robin relate to this, relate to the music, the release that they get from dancing. I mean, the stretching, the timing, the coordination, the pulling through the lower stomach, the chest, the confidence that they can get.
And 1, 2, and 3, keeping back, 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and over, reach, come on, up, up, over more, over, tilt, tilt, reach, 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 tummy flat.
It's a great release for Robin. He works on the ice, he's got his technical training down pat, and now this is his polish. His arms and his presence, which he has a great presence, and he's such an audience pleaser. But in dance class, he just goes bananas.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, da da da, reach and reach. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, hold. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Cousin's program for Vienna is set, but already he is working on composing next year's pattern on ice. He's one of the few skaters who does his own choreography.
Okay, the idea of the first few bars of music is basically to attract everyone's attention. Although you've probably been announced and you're already in the rink, a lot of people are still talking, and even some of the judges are looking at their notes. So for me, a big opening, whether the skater is moving or not, is important to make sure that everybody is focused on you. Normally, people will put the programs together and have the jumps as their main assets, and then use easy steps or little pieces in between to link them together. And what I would like to try and do, I don't know if it's possible, would be to try and have the steps and the program itself as the main body, and try and make the jumps incidental and look incidental, so they don't look as if you've done a lot of preparation for them. When I'm making up new programs, I never write down what I do. I have this habit of finding an empty evening at the ice rink and just put the music on over and over again and just improvise each time to the music. And just go on until those improvisations become regular routine. I've chosen this particular piece of music with a slow opening because I would like to think that my skating next year will be about as perfect and as easy looking as I think I can make it. I've intermixed it with a rather update disco, Spanish-style music to contrast not only the style of music, but also my style of skating. It's very heavily orchestrated, so there's plenty of scope for doing jumps and spins and skating very, very fast, which the audience seem to like a lot. You have to try and find every little detail that's going to pick up an extra point for you. So you look for music that's instantly likable the first time you hear it, because although you and the trainer are going to be hearing it every day, the judges and the spectators are only going to listen to it once. My program this year was good, but not different enough to separate me totally from any of the other competitors. So my program next year has to be different than anything that's ever been done before.
But with Vienna just 1 week ahead, there's only time now to analyze the Zagreb performance in February and repolish this year's routine.
That was better.
That's the best one I've ever done.
Yeah, the double flip wasn't that good, but the combination was excellent. That's a good one.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2.
It's a little faster here than you do now.
7, 8,
You see?
8 and 9, that's not too bad.
You see, Krista?
The music, what?
No, the spin is faster on this one than when he does in lately. He has to
I know,
remember.
that's what I told him this morning. There were only 6 turns this morning.
Carlos never
They're
seen
slowly.
the step
See,
either.
the footwork is not that hot.
He was
It's
a little
purpose.
lost the control there. I think the footwork is better now,
Much better.
but the spin, oh, that was very good, eh? That's a very good Falco. I didn't like that turn.
Why?
Because I think a stupid judge can think he didn't hold us.
No, he held it really long.
I know, but and then turn around and go down there,
I think that
turn
should be
around, and then come up and turn around again. You see it? It's a little long. It's not bad, but I think
What could he do? He can't start again.
keep the spin long.
Okay.
little.
A longer
You understand?
camel spin and then go
Yeah,
on the
I
next
can do that.
Do that a little longer. Well, it's not really bad. They were throwing flour also there.
Lots that day.
It was very good. I would be glad if you do like that at World.
Vienna in March, setting for the 1979 World Figure Skating Championships. For Cousins' parents, an international event means a special journey from their home in Bristol.
Since he's been in America, this is the longest we've been without seeing him. In the skating world, you just don't know what's going to happen. Although everyone expects Robin to get a medal, anything can happen.
The practice rink in Vienna, the eve of the championships.
Basically, once you arrive, it's just to get yourself in shape and keep yourself ticking over until you actually start competing. Most of the hard training has been done in the preparation before you obviously arrive. The judges are all here and all the teams have arrived, so sort of the last couple of days are just, you know, showing what you can do before you compete. Sort of not so much being pushed, but shown off. It puts pressure on as much as I know I can do it, and I've just got to show everybody else I can do it, which means that if I can do it in the practice and I can do it, you know, 3 or 4 days in a row, then why can't I do it next day in competition? You're not infallible, and you can't not have a bad day or make mistakes at some time or another.
The start of the championship itself. The judges give their verdict on a previous performer in the compulsory figures, the one event where Cousins has always failed.
Next skater, Robin Cousins, Great Britain. Please prepare. Billy Schober, Australia.
He's getting nervous on figures. Sometimes he do badly in one figure, and that's enough to lose the competition, unfortunately. So he really cannot afford to make a mistake. He had to skate well all the way.
The figures is important because it's the very start of the competition. I think if the free skating came first, the results could be different. Each figure contains 3 tracings. You sort of lay down your first tracing and hope that that one's the one that's been laid out right, and the other 2 are you just trace over to make sure, hopefully, that everything is fine. And the idea is to have all your tracings within 3 inches of each other.
The same tracing repeated 3 times with only a 3-inch margin for error. Backwards, forwards, inside edge or outside, the precise clinical foundation of skating. After each performance, the judges come out for the post-mortem to see if the figures have been executed exactly as instructed. Muted applause from the small audience, for the figures appeal only to the purists. And the next skater, the Russian champion Kyovolev, is among the elite in this exact art. At Zagreb, he took the gold.
I was very pleased with the first figure I put down. Carlo was very pleased, and some of the judges reflected that in their marks, that they thought I really improved. So I think having been 4th after the first 2 figures, I was feeling very confident.
Now last year's world champion, Charlie Tickner from the United States. He's better at figures than Cousins, and almost as good a free skater. Again, the judges move in.
Next skater, Jan Hoffman, DDR.
The East German, Jan Hoffmann, second in the figures at Zagreb, underlines the Eastern Bloc's strength in precision, but their weakness lies in the free.
I think figure are completely the opposite of free skating. You must be very quiet, very control of yourself to do figures, and it's very difficult to find a champion that does both well.
The difficulty is underlined by the way the figures are arranged. Each competitor skates a figure, waits for all his opponents, skates a second figure, waits again, skates his third. The whole process takes 6 hours.
People do get upset when judges mark them down, or if they're not going to be prepared to take the judge's decision as final, regardless of whether it's a blatant mark down or mark up, then I don't think they should be in the competition in the first place.
Cousins starts his third and last figure.
The ice for the loops was not as it could have been. Loops being very tight little circles, and they tend to make a lot of snow with the blades, and it was a cut into the ice a lot. But I was going further into the ice than I was used to, which caused me to stop on the top of one of the loops. In fact, literally had to pull myself out, which altered the flow and didn't make it look too nice. I came out of the loop not feeling very happy with myself at all.
Again, the last figure has let Cousins down disastrously.
Would you turn towards me, please? Thank you. 3,3, 3,3, 3,5, 3,3, 3,1, 3,3, 3,3, 3,4, 3,4, 3,3, 3,3, 3,4, 3,4. Thank you.
Cousins is placed 13th in this figure, 5th overall.
The hiccup that caused it, it was the fact that the loops are too small, but they're much better than commoners. Far better than commoners. I'll go out and tell him if you like.
I've got another 2 parts of this competition left to do.
The goddess of justice and wisdom. You do see in the triangular part of the roof, Emperor Franz Joseph.
Day 2 of the competition, the morning of the short program.
Giving constitution to the 16 crown countries of the monarchy.
You try not to, but you still get very tense.
It's a bit nerve-wracking, it's very tense. You worry for him, I think. It's there's a whole lot of work gone into preparing himself for the championship. So many people are willing him to do well.
We just let him know we're there, and if he wants anything, he'll come and find us.
The short program won't be as rigid as the figures, but it's still strict. It must last just 2 minutes and contains 7 set elements, specific jumps, steps, and spins.
You're gonna think I'm a seamstress. Here.
With only minutes to go, a little assistance from last year's champion, Charlie Tickner.
I think it was everybody's most difficult competition. The standard is just so great. With everybody beating everybody else, it was anybody's championship, anybody who ever decided to skate well on the day. There was a lot of pressure on everybody. Everybody knew that the short program was going to make a lot of difference to the result of the competition. There were 9 skaters who were all capable of winning that one event.
Scott Kramer of the United States was not among those top 9, but with the carefree exuberance of the outsider, he spins into second place.
The nerves come before the performance, and with me, I know if I'm nervous because I'll start yawning and everyone thinks I'm going to fall asleep.
Charlie Tickner of America, last year's world champion, usually almost as strong as cousins in the short. Jean-Christophe Simon from France, a serious challenger to cousins.
Anybody who is in the competition is capable of skating a perfect performance the same way everybody in the competition is capable of falling over. Even if things start to go wrong in the middle of a performance, it's still possible to pick yourself up, especially if the audience feel that you need them to pick up on mistakes. You can drive yourself, and I think it's the drive and the thrill or the prospect of making a mistake maybe that makes you want to do it. I know that my spins are probably some of the best, and everything that I do is sort of over the standard required. So that I knew, even when I'd fallen, that if I did everything else as well as I know I can do it, that I still had a chance of being in the top bracket of skaters, because I know that people before me had made mistakes. It was very funny to see everybody sort of literally falling like flies, just literally through nerves, and someone said it was like everyone going on and coming off and saying, well, I've fallen, I don't want to win this, you can have it.
The end of the short program. 2/3 of the way through the championship now, with only the free to come. Cousins collects bouquets for a brilliant recovery from a mistake he should never have made, and meditates on points he could ill afford to lose.
But in the short program, Krista said afterwards that she really didn't feel that I was going out there with the guts and the determination which was necessary to go out and win that event.
But there's still one more big event to come, the free skating tomorrow. Tonight's marks record an opportunity missed, but not a championship lost.
I think luck plays a lot in the performance, the final performance. I mean, you can wake up on the day and absolutely feel the last thing you want to do is to skate. You work all year, literally all year, for something that can be blown away in 5 minutes of skating, the final free skate. And you suddenly realize in the afternoon before the competition, you think this whole year is either going to be made or broken tonight. You go through the program and you go through the program again and you suddenly realize, well, I've just fallen on every jump I've taken off on in my head. And I never fail to at least fall once or twice.
Thursday night, the public crowd the turnstiles. Not for them the painful precision of the compulsory figures. They have come to see the big show, the speed and the grace, the sequins and the excitement of the final free skating. Jan Hoffmann of East Germany, winner of the figures, fighting fiercely against cousin's strength in the free.
I'm not one normally for putting negative thoughts through my head, but while I was waiting to go on, the crowd's applause for the skaters before me was being echoed. So I thought everyone was doing phenomenal programs when in fact they were only doing mediocre programs. What I thought was huge standing ovations was in fact just normal applause. So I sort of killed myself before I even went on the ice, just through being in the changing room.
Young Scott Kramer, disappointed tonight after being so good in the short program. Charlie Tickner, comparable with Robin in the free, but having, like him, fallen in the short program, now with everything to skate for. The Russian Kyovolev, silver medalist in Zagreb, strongest in the figures. Lacking fluency in the free, and even needing a helping hand. A champion who looks half-beaten. But Cousins has his problems too.
And the last thing you want to do when you are standing there waiting for your name to be called out is go onto the ice. Just quite happily turn around, take the skates off and leave. Once you stand there, once you're standing out there in the crowd and there's a bit of buzz and there's silence and then the music starts, you just want to keep going forever. I knew that I had to redeem myself from the day before. It's been a long, long time since people have seen me fall in competition, and so I had to go out and prove to them that I was capable of skating well. I love to compete. I love the idea, the atmosphere. I just try and listen to the crowd, to their reactions. You do the routines, you get used to doing them, you go through them so many times that everything you do is automatic. when you're competing, there's no sets, there's nothing but you and ice. And you really have to make good use of that. And I would like to think that my skating is the perfect skating for people to watch, that in 30 years' time someone could look back on a film of my skating, say this was the best skating of the 70s and the 80s, this is the way it should have been done. My ambition is to be able to come off the ice knowing that I've done the absolute ultimate.
You got it. Second place by the Russian, second by the American, second by the...
Finally tonight, Russia took the gold medal in the men's World Figure Skating Championships in Vienna. Britain's Robin Cousins had more or less settled for the bronze after mistakes in the compulsory figures. But in the final free skating, he swept to second place.
Charlie, third, Hoffman, third.
Some people spend their life climbing mountains and they look for the next biggest mountain, and for me it's the same thing with the competitions. I'm just looking for the next one to go for.
For Robin Cousins, born Bristol 1957, silver medalist Vienna 1979, the next big challenge will be the Olympics, Lake Placid in February 1980. Between Vienna this year and Lake Placid, there lie 42 skating weeks, 6 days a week, 6 hours a day. And at the end of it all, it may be only his hopes that were ever golden.